Okay, on the second part, our purpose here is to create what you call the infamous, okay, your own drawing. Now, how are you going to do that? Go to your model. Inside, you will see borders with a specific scale of 1:60. Oh, reminder, you can actually change the scale based on what you need. Okay. Now, you may notice that the drawing model here right now is masyadong magulo. The reason is simple because in my project, we are actually using it as a basis in doing our structural plans. Okay, so in the meantime, delete it by erasing it. So press E and then Windows select these unnecessary drawings. Press enter. Okay, now you're going to insert your very own drawing. How are you going to do that? Okay, first I'm going to copy a complete scale. Watch this closely. So CO for copy. Select this upper bound of the rectangle and the rectangle alone, and then select this portion and then copy. Okay. Now, please take note. I forgot to copy the value of scale as 1:60. So, CO again. Copy the scale 1:60. Okay. So, copy like this. Okay. Okay. Please do notice that you will notice that there are a lot of changes here. But be careful with this one because when you're dealing with scale, you can change it as it is. Let's say, for example, this is scale 1:60. But you can actually change it to another scale like 1:50, 1:40, and so on. Okay, let's have an example. 1:60, I will do it as scale as 1:50. So press SC for scale. Okay, I'm going to select the entire object, one object particularly. Press enter. I will select the lower left corner of the rectangle as my base point. What is my scale factor? First, type letter R. R for reference. The reference length that you have is 60. But the one that I'm going to do is 50. Why is that? Initially, the scale that you have is 60 and you're going to convert it into 50. So, the new length is now 50. As an evidence, if you zoom the details further, from 600, it turns out to be 500. Okay? Checking, checking, checking. Initially, it is 600. Now, it turns out to be 500. So, with that, you have to change this 1:60 as 1:50. Text 60 as text 50. Okay? And then, this must be 1:50. Okay? I'm just hoping you learned something. And also, please convert it into 50. 1:50. Now, I would like to convert the remaining into 40, 30, and 20. Okay. Let's say SC. Select this one. Select the lower corner. Press okay. Press R, 60, and then 40. Checking. It must be 400. Okay. Now, there's a huge problem here. What's that? Okay. Now, the issue here is this. Now, if you're going to compare this with the original, okay, so this is the original. I'm going to copy this for comparison. Okay, look closely. If you're going to look closely on the figure, okay, it did not change it did not change the size of the dimension or the limits of your dimension. Why is that? Because originally we are using 1 is to 60 instead of 1 is to 50. We just scale it appropriate to 1 is to 50. Now, to address that issue, okay, press one of them, okay, and then right click. Or you may consider this. Press one of them and then consider, okay, press the annotate menu. Okay, it says here it is dim 60. Well, in fact, it must be a dim 50. So look on the list of the dim 50. So what did you notice? The circle is quite smaller than the previous one. Okay. Now I have a special trick for you. Now go back to home. You will notice a icon here says match properties. What does it mean? Okay, when you click this one, okay, it says here, when you click match property, the item is select source object. And then click this 500, the one that you edited earlier, and then it will change everything. Okay? Guys, I'm just hoping that you are not doing keep on clicking, and then you're going to say, you're going to use that dim 50. No, you can actually just select one and then match property. That easy. Okay, in this case, the only problem here is this is not 1 is to 60. Okay, go back to the annotate. It says here style 100. It must be, okay, it must be style 50. Okay, let's look for that one. Okay, it must be a style 50. Guys, don't worry about this template that I gave you. Lahat po to kompleto. Huwag kayo masyadong reklamador, ha? Okay, ayun po siya. Yan ang totoong scale na 1 is to 50. Okay? And then, go back to home. Click nyo ang match property. Chapwing. And then, the other one. O, diba? Diba? Now, on 1 is to 40, okay, annotate, it must be dim 40. Ang kulit ito, Okay, then match property. Oops! Notice I did not deselect the one that I changed. But since it is already selected, if I click match property, look on the symbol. It says here, select destination objects. So you can select this and this. Okay, so are we clear? Okay. Now, what's the purpose of this exercise now? Simple. You're going to transfer your own drawing on the template. Watch this closely. With the help of Miss Justine Marilla, okay, I asked her for her files in AutoCAD, okay. So we have no, okay, let's okay, having trouble. Okay, having trouble.
New na lang, sir. New.
Ano? New
New
file.
lang, sir. New.
Okay. So the file name is new. Okay, you can test your own. You can actually test your own drawing for this one. Okay. Okay. While waiting, okay, I'm just hoping you learned something. By the way, I'm with Miss Marilla right now, and she is watching this demonstration. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, nice. So in this case, okay, so let's have an example here. So this is an architectural drawing. Okay, so this is just for demonstration purposes only. Okay, so listen to this very carefully. Your normal thinking is you're going to copy this as it is. Like you're going to select, you're going to say CO, and then you're going to do this. Select a certain object and then press enter. And then you're going to transfer to the other file, okay, and then you were going to say the word control V. But there's nothing, right? Now, the best way of copying this properly is this. Look at this closely. Control Shift C. Okay, it says here, specify base point. I am going to choose the lower right of this particular workspace, and then copy as I'm going to select the drawing alone. Okay. Now, in this case, I am going to my new plan, okay, my new plan, or rather, the other drawing file, Control V. Now, notice that I do not see any drawing at all, but if you're going to look closely, aha! There it is. Okay, now, if you did notice earlier, okay, Control V, you notice that it glows yellow. Why? Because if you're going to look on the home, the layer mentioned here, it is a beam girder. Okay, so don't worry about it. I'll explain that further. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Now, also notice that, okay, so notice that this is just a dot of the entire workspace. Okay, to achieve that, okay, I am quite guessing that this is scaled as millimeters. Okay, now for example, like this, if I consider the dimension, okay, it is, okay, how much? 4. Well, in fact, it is implying 4 meters. Remember, when you are doing drawing, every millimeter counts. Okay, so to address that issue, let's say SC for scale. Okay, and then select the lower left corner of one of your drawing. Okay, and then press R. Your scale factor is 1. Your new length is 1000. So if you're going to zoom this further, tada! That's actually the scale drawing. But it is quite an obvious thought that this is actually what is very small relative to this workspace. So you're going to use another scale for this one. Okay. So, okay. Again. Undo, undo, undo. So, I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it to another scale, and I'm quite bet it's under the 1:40. Okay. So, SC, I am going to select this entire object, the same corner, okay, lower left, and then press R, reference length 1, and then this is 1000. I guess this is appropriate. Okay, now watch this out. We are going to move it as it is. Okay, now next. Okay, the problem is the master's bedroom is mixed up. Haha. Okay, now press M for move. Select for the M, but you notice that you cannot move it. Bad. Okay, actually, you can actually explode it. Okay, press this and press X for explode. You can now isolate now the word master. Okay, but based on the template, this is not the text that you're going to use. Okay, how's that? That's actually the essence of the sheet content. Okay, so match property, I'm going to copy that part, then Tada! 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 PNB lang. Okay. Tada! Nice, is it? Okay. So, this must be TNB. Okay. Next, up to second floor. I think this not, you don't need to write this one, okay, because there's a title for this one, right? Simple as that. So, mm-hmm. Ayan, that's better. LD is,
Living and dining.
okay, living. Oh, shush. Okay, let's just, okay, near the porch, it must be a living area. I'm going to say this is the dining. Okay, be sure it is well aligned. Okay, so that's it. Now, of course, it doesn't have any sense, but you have to put colors on it. Okay, so listen this very carefully. Now, by the way, I know it sounds crazy, but take note that the curvature of the door, it must be quarter circle arc, but it appears to be a polygon. Now, actually, it is quarter circle, but it appears to be polygonal because number one, it is regenerating. So type the word regen. Press enter. It turns out to be a circle again. Okay. Now, choose the doors. Okay. Actually, the entire door, including the jamb, and then look for the doors. Got it. Doors. So there's I am quite guessing that this is an excess. Oh no.
Nilaman ko yung siguro.
Okay, so this is a door. It must be okay. Now notice that when you click this one, this is the only color that is not of the same color. Listen. So click this white portion and then click by layers. Okay, and then match property. Click this portion and do it on the other doors. By the way, the same principle applies when you're dealing with the windows. Thank you. Okay, so we have a funky door here. Okay, so there you have it. Okay, next, if you're done, press escape. Next, what's the color of the column? Okay, So press this one, press one of them, and then find for the col. Where's the column? Okay. Okay, oh, it's missing. Okay, now if there is no huh? If there are no columns here, okay, here's my suggestion. Create your own. Okay, so here it goes. So layers, sorry. Okay, click layer properties. Okay, so here's your menu. So you're going to create your own now. Okay, let's zoom this further, or rather stretch it further. Okay, now see the symbol, or rather see the symbol, the one with the spark on it. It says here new layer. Okay, we're going to write here column, and the color must be cyan. Okay, don't worry about the cyan because the primary colors tells you about this one. Haha, and that's color number 4. Then click OK. Okay, it must be continuous and default. Okay, and do the same. For example, I like beams and girders. Okay, beams and girders. Okay, the color must not be cyanic but yellow. Okay, then close it. Now, okay, let's continue. Now let's start with the column. So this is an example of column. Now notice it is currently layered as 0. Okay, it will simply start at 0 because number 1, you simply copied it from one CAD file to another. Okay, so click one item and then look for the column. Okay, so it turns out to be blue. Okay, so okay, and then match properties, select this colored column and select the other columns. Okay, okay, and let's check. So it's finished. So press escape. Now the other parts, okay, which is the wall actually. Okay, let's check for the walls. Okay, so you have your walls. Okay, now notice that there's a continuous line here. Okay, if I'm going to delete it, it will actually, wow. Okay, so undo it back. Okay, so there you have it. Now here it goes. Select this perimeter, okay, and click find for the layer that says wall. Hello, wall. Thank you. And then match properties again. Okay. So, okay, voila. Okay, 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 okay. Okay, and so I guess everything is filled up. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, 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 okay. So press escape. Umira naman. Tumatak ng Discord na continuous kasi. Now,
Manual yun sir.
please, suggestion, ladies and gentlemen, okay, avoid avoid this continuous line, okay. To address this issue, press X. Select this continuous line and then press X. So the consequence is it turns out to be broken line. Not broken lines, but actually, no, it's what you call it is classified as, what's the term? That would be disjointed. Okay, so you can actually manipulate the line. Okay, guys, notice. So this is the line, but it is flashed on the column. Now, avoid this portion because it will actually have you trouble with your printout. Remember, your purpose is to have a black output. Unfortunately, the colors tells you meaning. I chose cyan for column because it requires a thick line weight. The normal line weight is intended for walls and beams and even girders. Light the secondary lightings for windows and doors. Okay. So next. Okay, avoid this portion. This must be broken. So the command is tr, and then instead of select all, press right click. It says here select object to trim or shift whatever, and then do that to the other. Okay, so we're fine. Except this one. Okay. Next. Next line. Okay. It must be okay. This must be okay. Watch this closely. Okay, you're going to stretch this up to this portion. Okay. CO. Okay. So what did you notice? So notice that it appears to be so it appears to be somewhat isolating the colors. Okay. But listen to this very carefully. Do not give me a wrong informational drawing, because if I'm going to read the drawing, it simply gives me the idea that the window is actually embedded inside the wall, when in fact it must be included on the wall. Okay, so match properties for this other color. Okay, now to address this issue here, okay, watch this out. TR, press the border of your window so closely. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Then press enter. Select object to trim. So select this portion. Oh, sorry. So it simply means one thing, that your line is not straight at all. Okay. So let's do this manually. So press L for line. So from this portion to this portion. Notice that it is cyan because the default layer is beam girder and it's not layered to its color. Okay. So press L again. Now match properties. I guess this is much realistic, is it? Is it? But it's still not still awkward on one sense. Why? Because number one, the thickness of your window in total is not matching the thickness of your wall. So what do I mean? For example, SC, I'm going to say this portion only. Okay. Now I selected only half of the window. So press SC. Object, press enter. I will select this middle portion. Okay, and then scale factor, I will say 0.75, which is much appropriate. Huh? Okay, so how are you going to close it badly? So here's the thought now. Draw a line connecting the center up to the center. So it is a straight line. Now, press S for stretch. Only select this half portion. Then press enter. So from this portion, you're going to stretch until a triangle will appear. It means it reached the middle. Then press S again for the other. S. Voila. Okay, so delete this yellow line. Don't worry, you're not going to harm the window. Okay, so this is much realistic, right? Because number one, we are providing a gap intended for the sealants and the sash. I mean the sash, that's the framing of your window, okay? So there you have it. One missing item on this drawing is that it doesn't have any dimensions at all. Okay, so let's have an example. But before that, press O for offset. You're using a scale of 1 is to 40, but I forgot to change this to 40. Okay, now in this case, okay, press O for offset. I will say 400. How did I come up with 400? Okay, simple. I used the scale for 1 is to 40. The typical rather saying, the distance between two dimension lines must be 10 millimeters in reality. But if you're going to use a scale, multiply it by scale factor. Now, the very first dimension, it must be 15 mm. So if you're going to compute that, that would be 600. So press any of the line, aftermost line, and then the next line, offset it, then 400. Okay. Now, why there are three lines mentioned here? Simple. Okay, listen. So I am going to press annotate, and I'm looking for dimension. I'm going to look for 40. Okay? Now, I will put dimension. Okay? Dimension is depending on the column location. Okay? From here to this portion. So it is 350 at rather 3,550 or 3.55 meters. Now, actually, you're going to put the dimension here. Why not here? Simple. For example, if there is a column, let's say for example this one, there's a partition here, a glass partition. Okay, now the dimension, okay, so it must be from this portion up to the partition. Oh, sorry. It must be, where's that? Linear from this portion up to this portion. Okay? But how about the other one? Okay? So press linear. It must be from this portion up to the other end. Okay. So this is the proper dimensioning. Okay. And then another linear, no partition. So I can simply say done. By the way, if you're doing dimension, be sure that the object knob is turned on. So object knob is turned on here. Thank you very much. Okay. Notice that there is a variation of color here. There are appears to be two colors here because the overlap lines are still noticeable. So press E for erase. I am going to select this portion. Notice none of the dimension lines has been selected. Simple, because they are not affected by the window. So press enter. Okay, there are no other lines. Now, one thing's for sure is that the layer intended for the dimensions ay meron naman dito sa ating layer. So, looking for dim or dimension. And then, another match property for the entire. Okay, how about the others, like this one? Okay, let's remove this portion. So, press O for offset. I'll say 600 for the first one. And then, O for this time, 400. Remember, let me remind you that this scale is intended for, okay, 1:40. So, be careful with other scales. Thank you very much. So, from here, mula dito, let's say hanggang dito, okay, sorry. Wala namang partition, so, hanggang dito. And then, para di ka mahirapan, gamitin yung space bar mula dito hanggang sa hanggang susunod na column. Okay, now dito ngayon tatalab, okay, ladies and gentlemen, dito ngayon tatalab yung pangalawang set ng linya. Hindi ka maigi. Mula dito hanggang dito, ganyan. Okay, now, look closely. Notice that the dimension is very close to this line, right? Is there something wrong? Not exactly. Supposedly, when you are offsetting, nag-offset ka ng line na 600, dapat inaalam mo yung pinaka-labas niya. Okay, so in other words, okay, para ma-address ang issue, ito yan. Press offset for O. Let's say 600. I-offset na siya papunta dito. So, ibig sabihin, ang una palang dimension dito from the inside, ito dapat. Kaso nga, ulit yung dimension mo? No. Ito yan. Press S for stretch. Meaning, i-stretch mo to, watch closely. Mula dito sa corner na to, okay, oops, cut. Kapag nakita nyo nasa-select ito, skip nyo, okay? Press S again. So, look closely. Slightly malapit dito sa may linyang to, sa line na to, okay? Isa-select yung dahan-dahan lang, ayun. Kaso, na-select din itong linyang to. To address the issue, press shift and then i-click mo siya. Na-deselect na siya. Okay? And then, press enter. Now, saan malapit tong linyang to? Malapit tong linyang to, nandito. So, ang gagawin natin, itong intersection ng dalawang dimension line, i-stretch natin papunta dito. And then, there you have it. Lahat yan naayos na, kaya don't worry guys, okay? And then, the last dimensioning. Voila! Okay, so there you have it. So press E for the excess lines. And dapat ito ay dimension. So, ano gagawin natin? Dapat ito ay naka-dim. So, match property. Wala. Okay. So, anong title ngayon to? Let's say, kokopya ko ng tinatawag na title block. Sabi ito, floor framing plan, hindi mo floor framing plan. Eh, since title din yung nag-iisang drawing, I'll say, this is number 1. Okay? So, I'm going to say this is ground floor plan. Okay? Now, since this is architectural, okay, I'll say this is A-2. A-2 because A-1 is your perspective. Okay, so this is one of your drawings. My question is, if you're going to print it on, if you're going to put in a layout, what will this be? This be? Listen, layout. Click layout view. Okay. Now, look for the term. Okay, MV. MV, that is short for multi-view. Okay. Press MV. Now, select viewport corners. So, from this portion up to this portion. What did you notice? The content of your model is seen on this portion, but what's the essence? If you're going to select if you're going to double click inside and then use your middle cursor, notice the hand, and then you can move it to the left, okay? Now I will focus on this portion. Now press Z for zoom. Okay, now listen to this very carefully. Press control and then right click. Now select the endpoints. If you do that, you will select the corner of the paper inside. Don't worry, all rectangles here are scaled and good for the papers. Okay? And then, before you go to this portion, notice that I cannot select the other corner. So, control again, right click, and then you will notice endpoint, then you will have it. So, what does it mean? This is how your drawing be when printed. That will be the arrangement. Is there an impact here? Yes. Now, notice at the sheet contents, it says here, first floor framing plan at elevation positive 4.50 and second floor framing plan at elevation 9.0. But there's only one drawing here, but it is not a framing plan. So I am going to double click the first floor framing plan and then press backspace and then OK. Okay, I will select this portion. Instead of deleting it, I will backspace it and say ground floor framing plan. And then press OK. So this is how your drawing will be. Oh, by the way, you can actually fit a lot of drawings as long as it is readable. Okay, so take note of that. Okay, so that is your part 2.